Have you ever felt like you're doing all the right things, yet life still feels totally out of control? Like no matter what you do, you just feel like you spinning your wheels. I feel this way trying to record this episode. Welcome to the Dope Black Chick podcast, where we have bold conversations that, empower, uplift, and challenge Black women to embrace their full, authentic selves. I'm your host, Kimberly, and this show is all about helping seasoned women navigate transitions, rediscover their power, and step into their next level with confidence and ease. So, if you're a woman in your 40s or beyond, trying to find peace, purpose, and fulfillment, you're in the right place. So let's get started on today's episode. This one is personal for me. Like, I recently had a revelation about letting go and fully surrendering my worries, anxieties, stress to God. And then it hit me. If I don't know where I'm going, why do I keep trying to drive? Hence the vehicle. No, I'm in the vehicle because my car is my studio right now. Maybe it's time to get out of the driver's seat and let the one who knows the destination take the wheel. So let's talk about what happens when we finally stop forcing things and start trusting. Now, this is my first episode that is also video, right? So you're going to see me looking down at my notes that I usually just freestyle in my audio podcast. But since this is the first episode in video, listen, do not judge. We listen and we don't judge. All right? So let's get into it. Now, lately, guys, I've been feeling so out of control. I've been feeling overwhelmed, anxious, uncertain about, you know, how my life is supposed to be going, where it's supposed to be. And in last week's episode, I told you guys there are so many transitions happening in my life, and they've been taking place literally since what 2022. Um, and so I'm grappling with those transitions and what it means for my life and all of that good stuff, right? So it's been hard. I mean, even I've been having dreams that my subconscious is really trying to make a lot of sense out of, what's going on with where I am, where I thought I would be, how I thought I would be, who I thought I would be, and where I'm going. And so the moment I realized that my need for control was keeping me stuck was like I was waking up every day with no motivation. I didn't want to do podcasting. I didn't want to do my website. And most importantly, I did not want to coach. I felt like, how could I coach people when I have this huge question mark over my life right now? I felt like that was very hypocritical. Um, Now I know that I have lots and lots and lots to offer to my clients, and I have offered that for many years. But when you're at a crossroads and you don't know who you are or who you will become, it's hard, it's difficult, you know? And so I had this thought about a car ride metaphor. Like, imagine being lost with no GPS. And then instead of aimlessly driving, wouldn't you let someone who knows the way take the wheel? And that is what surrendering to God is about. Because I had got to a point where I was like, I don't have the zeal to do the things that I love doing, and I don't know how to change it. And I felt like I was trying so many different ways to reignite the passion and to get myself back to, just the feeling that I used to have. Then I just said, you know what? I don't, if you feel like you don't know where you're going, because that was like one of my biggest things. I kept saying, I don't know where I'm going. I don't feel like I know where I'm going, right? If you don't know where you're going, excuse me, if you don't know where you're going, wouldn't you not drive the car? Like, I need to get out the driver's seat and I need to let it go and let God handle all of it. Let Jesus take the wheel, right? We say these things, but we have to apply them to our lives. And there was a reason that this was such a struggle for me, right? So there are certain reasons that we struggle to let go of control. The first one is we have a fear of the unknown. We do, right? We have a fear of the unknown. And for me, it was like I I just didn't know where my life was going. This is new territory for me. Um I don't remember ever in my previous marriage like fitting in there either. Like I was doing it like a single person. You know what I'm saying? And for me, I just felt like, I was so afraid. I just did not know where I was going. I didn't know where I was going. And then the other part of it is ego and pride, right? We believe that we have to figure everything out alone. I'm a I'm one of those people. My husband got sick recently, which again, this was another transition, like being a caretaker as a spouse. And y'all, he got sick, and I'll be honest with you, it was scary. It was scary, but more than that, I felt like I could heal him. I felt like I should know everything on how to heal him, right? At one point, I was like, my love can heal him. It's funny now. It wasn't funny then. But these are the things, like, that's ego. That's probably what makes me think that I can figure all of this out. I talked about this last week, but what made me think that I could be a doctor? What made me think that I knew this? What made me think that I knew how to do all of this? Balancing being a wife, balancing being his caretaker, balancing our transition to a new home, balancing my career or getting back on track with my career, and what that career I wanted it to be. Um, all of that stuff. What made me think I could do all of that by myself? I don't know, but for some reason, I really thought that I could. And then the other thing is impatience. My husband tells me all the time that I am super impatient. He's like, Kim, girl, you got to have a little bit more patience. I don't have it. I don't. I'm trying to get it, but I don't have it. And so when I want things to happen, I want things to happen right then. When they don't happen, I, instead of being like, okay, God, there's a reason for the pause, right? Instead of me being that way, I am totally not that way. I'm like, something's wrong. Let me fix it and get things back on track. I feel like I should get my answers right then. I don't like to wait for pretty much anything. And so I kept trying to force things, and every time I was forcing things and I was like, no babe, do this, I would tell him to do something, or I was trying to hurry up and make him feel better, so I started trying to feed him faster. And I realized, like, he has a phase of recovery, right? He has like 3 phases of recovery from his chronic condition. And I kept trying to rush it, and then I realized, like, no, I have to slow down. I actually have to trust the process. And I'm up here telling him that because he's hungry and he wants like a steak dinner. He didn't want steak, but he did want like heavy foods. And at the first phase, he's like on just a liquid diet. So he's getting upset with me because he has to be on a liquid diet, right? And I'm telling him, this is coming out of my mouth now, the person who needs to learn patience and trusting the process. I'm like, no, you have to go with the phases, okay? I know you want it right now, but if you want it and you want to be healthy on that side, then you have to endure through these phases. You can't just rush to the end, babe. You have, look, I know it's tough and I know it's going to be hard, but this is what you have. This is me telling him this. I'm telling him this. It's so funny. Woo, God will put everything you do right back in your face, right? So let me talk about the power of surrender. Like, what happens when you let God lead? Surrendering brings peace, clarity, and unexpected blessings. I'm telling y'all, I think I did every visualization, almost every affirmation, tons of dream interpretations, because my subconscious was speaking to me, okay? And just trying my best. I played Lundrell on repeat, I don't know how many times. And just trying to raise my vibrations, guys. I was just trying to raise my vibrations because I did not like the place I was in, the uncertainty, the unknowing, just the disconnect, really. And I didn't like it. So I tried to do as much as I could to get myself to a place of peace, for clarity, and to receive, right? Because here's the thing, I always know that at the end of the day, I know God got me. I'm just stubborn, impatient, and I don't like waiting. And I don't like the feeling, right? So what I needed most, there's a song. Yes, there's a gospel song. When I need him most, when I need him most, you know Jesus steps right in. When I need him most, I had to do that. But anyway, when I need God the most, I know to go to God and receive peace. I know I can get peace. I know that God can give me clarity. I know that God will take the stress away from me, right? And the way to this freedom, why don't we seek this freedom first? I don't know. I don't know. But I said, you know what, Kim, enough is enough. I'm stressed out. I don't want to go through this anymore. I'm tired of worrying every day. And I was up and I couldn't sleep. It was like 4 in the morning. And I just said, I asked ChatGPT, I said, ChatGPT, tell me what my higher self would say about the fact that I'm up worrying and stressing. Because I've been telling ChatGPT everything for the past, year and a half. So I've been telling ChatGPT everything. And my higher self comes back and, boom, girl, get that stuff to God. That ain't got nothing to do with you. Let it go. And so right then and there, I said, and this was like 4 or 5 o'clock this morning, and I said, I'm putting it down. I want to go to sleep, God. And I'll let you do whatever you got to do. Because here's the thing, I know that if you do it, if you get in the driver's seat, we will get to where we got to go. I don't care how long we got to go. I can sleep in this car. I ain't got to worry about the car going off the road. I can fall asleep. I can trust you driving this car. I don't care how long it gets there when you're driving, because I know we'll get there, right? So that, made me go to sleep. I went to sleep. I had peace. I woke up peaceful. And I think about Proverbs 3, 5, and 6. It says, trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. Don't lean on what you know. My circumstances, my situation made me feel like everything was just going to hell. And the whole time, it's like, all you got to do is look within, because this is where God is. God lives within you. And all I had to do was look within, get the reassurance that I so desperately needed, get the clarity and the peace, drop all your baggage off at that door, go to sleep. Trusting, believing, knowing that everything works out for your highest good. Simple, right? So this is how you do it daily, because you can't just do it that one time. That's one thing I know about surrender. I have been telling you guys about this book called Surrender, the Pathway, um yeah, the Pathway to Surrender, or something like that. And I have read that book multiple times, and I because I know that this is a daily practice. You can't just surrender a one-off. You have to surrender daily. So here's some steps of how I have surrendered daily, or am surrendering daily. Okay? But what I know for sure, you have to acknowledge you are not in control. I'm not in control. I trust you, God. One of the things I get up every day and say is, the Lord is my light and my salvation. Whom shall I fear? The Lord is my strength. Of who shall I be afraid? I trust you, God. All is well. Everything is working out for my highest good. And out of this situation, only good will come, and I am safe. I say this every morning. And sometimes I say it so many times if I'm really anxious. I do it every day so I can remember I'm not in control. That God has everything under control, regardless of what it looks like to me, right? Because it really ain't as bad as I think it is. And then the second thing is to release the need for immediate answers. Let go of the pressure to figure it all out today. I like to know everything in one day. I do my husband like, I know I get on his nerves sometimes. I really want to know everything. Tell me everything that's happening, husband. I don't want to know step by step. My husband is fine with step by step. I have to know all the steps. Like, if there are 10 steps, give me all 10 steps. Then I'll start working on one. But he is fine with, give me number one today, and then I'll do number one. He's fine with that. I'm not. So release that need, guys, for immediate answers. Let go of the pressure to figure it all out. Just trust that it's all being revealed. Everything is unfolding the way that it should, for your highest good. Because sometimes when we hear how it should, we be like, well, what if how it should be ain't what I want? You know what I'm saying? So you have to remember, it's for your highest good. Because sometimes what you want ain't what you need or what you should have. So it's for your highest good. And I just have to remember that. I remind myself, like, girl, it's all unfolding the way that it should for your highest good. And then step 3, pray and listen. Pray and listen. I talk to myself. That is prayer. I talk to myself. That is prayer. One more time. I talk to myself. That is prayer. But also, when you're doing that, pray and listen to God. So I meditate. See, some people don't get it. There's a difference. Prayer is you running your mouth, blah 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 blah. You're saying all these things. You're putting these petitions in front of God. You're letting God know. You're having a conversation. You're like, hey God, this is what's going on in my day. This is what's bothering me. This is where I'm struggling at. This is where I'm happy. I'm thankful. I'm grateful. This is like you're giving him the lowdown, him or her or it, Mother, Father, God. But you are giving God your lowdown, right? Meditation is where you receive your download. That's where you go. After I've prayed and said all these things, I sit in silence to hear from God, to hear what God has to say about all the things I've said, because God hears you. God hears you. And so I go into myself, because what? That's where God lives. I go into myself and I sit in silence and I wait to hear from the Lord. And God speaks to my soul, He speaks to my spirit, and He tells me what I should do, how I should feel, reassures me I'm on the right path. You are safe. Everything is working out for your highest good. Relax. I got this. Don't you know who I am? Like, all of those things, those messages, they come to me. So don't just talk to God, be still and listen. Step 4, watch for divine signs and confirmation. Listen. God's always speaking through and as us all, as everything in this world. God is always speaking through us, as us. You might get a message from a friend. You might see something in nature. You may see something on TV. I'm telling you, if you're looking for the signs, if you're looking for the confirmation, it's like I call them those little hugs, those little nudges, those God nudges, those God kisses. It's like God saying, "Hey, I ain't forgot about you. I heard you. Let me show you this, so that you don't think I'm ignoring you, because I'm not." And He will give you those things. God gives you those things. And you just have to pay attention, right? And then the final thing is keep the faith, even when you don't see progress. Y'all, that's me. This is why. How do you keep the faith? Do all step 1 through 4. Like, seriously, keep the faith, because you're not always going to see the evidence of what you believe. You're not going to see that. So you have got to make sure that you are doing step 1 through 4 to keep your eyes on things eternal, and keep your third eye open. Close your eyes to the world, but keep your third eye open to God. Make sure you are, aware. Awareness is the key. Make sure you're aware of who you are, whose you are, who's working for you, who's standing there on your behalf, who's making clear the way. Like, all of those things, that is what step 1 through 4 does, so that you can have step 5, which is keeping the faith. So just to recap, guys, wrapping it up: let go, trust, and allow divine guidance. Let go, trust, and allow divine guidance. That's what I learned today, man, or yesterday. So what's one thing you've been holding on to that you need to surrender today? I want to leave you with that question. Ponder it. What's one thing you've been holding on to that you need to surrender today? Leave your answer in the comments, or you can DM me if you don't, feel like you want to put it out there. You can definitely send me a DM. I'll have my social media info in the I have my social media info in, make sure I'm still recording. Okay, I'll have my social media info in the description, and my email, right? So you'll have those ways that you can reach me. And then yeah, but make sure that you answer that question and share your reflections on social media with me at I Hear That Girl. No, I'm sorry. What is my I almost forgot what I'm using. Okay. So at I Hear That Girl, you can share your reflections with me on social media using hashtag Let Go and Let God, hashtag Dope Black Chick Podcast. Um, and if you want to have a deeper conversation on faith and personal growth, I'd love to chat with you. I'd love to have a coaching call with you. And we can discuss all of those things, right? So, like I said, you can just reach out to me via email and we'll talk further about that. Okay. But as we close, I want to close with an affirmation and just repeat after me. I am safe in God's hands. I surrender my worries and walk in faith. I am safe in God's hands. I surrender my worries and walk in faith. Repeat that. Make sure you guys like, subscribe, share this podcast with someone, and follow me on YouTube, follow me on Instagram. All the links are in the description. So I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you for tuning in to the Dope Black Chick Podcast. Peace and blessings.